from Mars.
What are they? What do they do? Jellyfishes some have brains or have these. Jellyfish don't have hearts. Why are you dancing? Where's the towel? There's tentacles. How does it
For sure, because we haven't had facilities around long enough to really care for them for the full extent of their life. But if you come back in about 60 years, we can give you some better. That girl's name is Sally. She is the only animal in this exhibit that has an size of baby. She's about 5.5 to 6 feet long, nose to tail, and weighs around 480 pounds. So she's a pretty big girl. And she's young. I think she's only about 40 to 60 years old. I think so. I don't know exactly how old she is. I know some people hear 60 and they think it's not sounding all that young. Experts estimate green sea turtles can possibly live to be up to around 120 years old, maybe even older. So she should have a nice long happy life out of her.
That's cool.
What I need from y'all is to be a little more specific than just, what's that? We got over 6,000 bats down there from 76 different species. It can take a minute to figure out exactly which one you're pointing at. Now, if you look over there, you'll see our most dangerous creature. They're so dangerous, we separate them from all the other animals. That is why they're in the tunnel. We call them people fish. Don't be afraid of ours. We train them. Wave at them, they'll wave back. More advanced ones may try to take your picture. Some won't notice us. We call those oblivious fish. Some will notice us and still won't wave. We got a few names for them, but we got to keep it family friendly, so we'll just call them rude. Watch out for tiny people fish. They're very dangerous. Stare into their eyes too long, they'll steal your hearts. Then they'll steal your paychecks. I feel like there's a little bit of experience with that here already.
Why big? It's
It's talking about the people.
no, but
It's a tunnel. We're gonna walk through that later.
Why it does that animal?
He's talking about the people and the kids,
Yeah,
buddy.
just talking about the people in the tunnel, buddy. There aren't very many in there right now because we just kind of just opened. And a lot of people are like me right now, still kind of tired. But anyways, Shark Lagoon is the largest exhibit in this aquarium. The entire aquarium holds around 1.2 to 1.3 million gallons of water. Shark Lagoon alone holds almost half of it, at around 550,000 gallons of man-made seawater. It's all got to be man-made. We're a little too far away from the ocean to carry a bucket back and forth. We did try it, did not work. I got tired on the first day. Now we take Gatlinburg City water, we take out the stuff that people need, we put in the stuff the fish need, which includes vitamins, minerals, and a lot of salt. I do know a couple of people noticed the male sawfish off to the side over there. He doesn't like the boat, so he does tend to avoid it like that quite often. Our female does tolerate the boat a lot better than the male does, so I will tell you all about the sawfish when we see her. But as for the male, he's around 14 feet long and weighs around 400 to 600 pounds. Down in this corner, there's a shark laying at the bottom of the exhibit. That is one of our nurse sharks. I get a lot of people that tell me they're concerned about the nurses laying still, because a lot of people think all sharks have to swim forward all the time to breathe. Well, actually, there are a little over 400 species of shark in the world, and out of all those shark species, only about 20 to 25 have to swim all the time to breathe. Around 40 species of shark do not have to swim forward to breathe at all. They are what are known as carpet sharks. They have muscles that push water through their gills. It's all they rely on to breathe. They can stay still as long as they want. The nurse is a type of carpet shark. Now, because they can stay still as long as they want, it is common to come across groups of them in the wild that can range anywhere from 10 to 40 sharks. They may even pile on top of each other. This mostly happens during the day. They are solitary nocturnal hunters. They like to find their own food at night. But we only have 3 nurses here. And I guess I don't think that's big enough for a group. Every now and then when the divers are in the water, if they're not careful and bump into a nurse, that shark may chase the diver around the exhibit, trying to cuddle with the diver. I was expecting to hear about cuddly sharks today.
Nope.
Hey, wait, not more.
What do we have that for? Well, that's a shipwreck. It was part of our last glass bottom boat.
Uh-oh.
Kind of found out you're not really supposed to let your navigator take a nap in the middle of the tour.
Uh-oh.
Don't worry, we took good care of the passengers, though. They all got to leave with 3 towels. I said that yesterday and had somebody say, I went to Ripley's Aquarium in the Smokies and all I got was this lousy towel. Alright. Now, all the coral in Shark Lagoon is actually fake. We can't use the real stuff in our larger exhibits because real coral is a living, breathing, and very delicate animal. Yes, it is an animal, not a plant or a rock. It's fragile, though. It's also endangered. We've lost around half the world's coral since 1950. It's not good. So for our larger exhibits, we make our own using concrete, plaster, and latex. We do have a couple of smaller exhibits that have the live stuff. The biggest of which is downstairs right past where the play structure is. It's called Living Coral. And that is our female sawfish. Now, she's about 12 and a half, 13 feet long, so she's not quite as long as the male. We estimate this girl weighs just under 1,000 pounds. Now, we don't know exactly how big really any of the fish in this exhibit are. We'd have to pull them out of the water to figure that out. Fish don't like that. It's very stressful for them because they can't breathe. So we stick with an estimate. I can guarantee you, though, this girl right here is the largest animal in this entire aquarium, unless my brother comes to visit. Now, the funny-looking nose on the sawfish is called a rostrum. The spikes come out of the side of the rostrum are not teeth or bone. Very modified type of the same kind of scale that covers the rest of the sawfish's body. Sawfish use their nose in the wild to find their food by digging around through the sand, looking for things like crabs and clams because they're bottom feeders and they love to eat things with shells. Now, a lot of people, when they first see sawfish, immediately think, well, that's a shark. But sawfish are not sharks. Sawfish are rays. Very closely related to things like stingrays, manta rays, guitar fish, and electric rays. I did not make the last 2 up. Those are real fish. I get a lot of funny looks when I say guitar fish. They just look like a sawfish, but without the nose. Sharks and rays are kind of closely related, though. They're both what are known as cartilaginous fish. They have skeletons made entirely out of cartilage, the flexible stuff that gives our ears and nose their shape. They don't have a single bit of calcium bone in their bodies. Does anybody have any questions for me right now? Anybody wonder why the sharks are not having an all-you-can-eat buffet here all the time?
What do sharks eat?
What do sharks eat?
What do sharks eat? So, out in the wild, depends on the species. Different sharks will eat different things. For instance, you got hammerhead sharks, which they prefer to eat stingrays. You got things like the sandbar and the blacktip sharks that like to eat just regular small fish. And then you've got great white sharks. They like to go after mammals like seals and sea lions and stuff like that.
Good
But
question, bud.
as for the sharks in this exhibit, we feed our sharks on Tuesdays and Thursdays. We only have to feed them twice a week. Sometimes not even that much. We offer them about 3 to 5% of their body weight in food every week here. If the sharks were in the wild, they might get a little closer to 1, maybe 2% of their body weight in food on average every week. We offer them a little more than they would normally get. Now, that's not a bad thing. There are well-recognized amounts that each species of shark can be fed. It's all percentages of their body weight. And we're not going to go above that. We don't want to overfeed the animals. It would make them unhealthy. But also, like I said, we're just offering that food to them. They're not always going to eat it all. It's not a bad thing. It just means they're not all that hungry during that feeding. They get some fancy food here, though. We're feeding our sharks fillets of stuff like salmon, mahi, halibut, and bluefin. They eat a lot better than I do. Now, here's another part of our shipwreck decoration. Now, these shipwrecks are actually used as hiding places by our smaller fish. They don't quite understand they are friends and not food to the sharks. They go in there because they feel safe. It's very similar to something people do in the ocean where they take old decommissioned naval vessels, strip them of everything that is not important to the structure, tow them out in the ocean and sink them to turn them into artificial reefs. So like I said, coral populations are declining. Smaller fish rely on coral for places to hide, lay their eggs, stuff like that. And so those artificial reefs provide the same benefits to those fish that actual coral does. It also provides new surfaces for new coral colonies to start going. But unfortunately, a lot of coral species take a very long time to actually grow. Some of them grow as slow as about 1 cubic inch a year. And down here, we've got some long, slender fish with shiny bellies. Those are called tarpon. We have 3 of them. Tarpon are what are known as a fossil fish. The species has been around since about the time of the dinosaur. Something we think that has helped that species stick around for so long is the enormous number of eggs they can lay at one time. Does anybody want to try and guess how many eggs a tarpon can lay at once?
300.
300 is way too low. You gotta go a lot higher than that.
5.
Five's a lot.
5 billion.
Did you say 5 million with an M?
Yeah, 5 billion.
You're on the right track. Just go a little higher. Huh?
Billion?
We're gonna go with million with an M. Yeah. 5 million is close, but you gotta go a little higher.
9 million.
Very close, a little bit higher.
10 million.
Almost.
11 million.
Almost there. 12.
Oh.
All right.
That was cool.
Whoa.
So,
12 million eggs.
yeah, they can lay up to around 12 million eggs at a time. That's not going to happen every time. They have a spawning season. They lay eggs a couple times during that season. They typically produce anywhere from 4 to 20 million eggs per season. They'll start laying eggs at around 7 to 13 years old. They'll lay eggs just about every year. Females can live to be up to around 50. That's why all 3 of our tarpon are female. One male, this would not be shark looking, and this would be tarpon tank. We get rid of him any way we could. We walk up and down the main street here in Gatlinburg, just throw him in any open car window we can find. Alright, so since she's not going to come under the boat, I know that the people on my left-hand side can look over. But if you do see any of those wonderful creatures under the boat, point them out, and I'll tell you what I can about them. If you see something else down there you want to know more about.
This shark's swimming upside down.
He had an itch on his back. He had to scratch it.
No, Teddy Bob.
Oh, yeah, it is.
Okay, let's stop calling them.
Whoa, we're underwater. Hold your breath. You're underwater. You gotta hold your breath.
Cowabunga, dudes. So this day was the aquarium, and then the next day we went to Splash Country. I couldn't really take my phone out and take a bunch of pictures and videos because we left it in the locker. Then we finished out the week with another day at Dollywood and had another fantastic day. Hope y'all enjoy, and we love y'all. Bye.
I was just estimating for that waterfall. I assumed that permanent.
Yeah, so